My dear child, the instant your parting words escaped your lips, a fracture occurred within them so profound that even the night itself could not grant them solace. That one sentence, so uncomplicated for you yet earth-shattering for them, has been resonating in their thoughts like an alert they cannot silence. They attempted to dismiss it as trivial, yet the reality is much darker, heavier, and far more consuming. Since you uttered those words, not a moment of peace has graced their eyes, as visions of you haunt their thoughts. They lie awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying the nuances of your voice, the expressions in your eyes, and the dramatic shift in the energy of the moment. Each hour that passes only plunges them deeper into an unforeseen turmoil. What you said resonates far beyond mere hurt. It unveiled the very essence of their being, exposing the confessions they have long concealed, the feelings they have suppressed, and the guilt they have silently borne beneath every veneer of a smile. Now, in the dead of night, as the world quiets down, those emotions rise from the shadows, reminding them that the instant you spoke, their reality was irrevocably altered. Others around them have begun to notice the change, the distraction in their gaze, the tremor in their hands as they check their phone, the silence that envelopes them whenever your name surfaces in conversation. They attempt to suppress these feelings, yet your words continue to resound loudly, painfully, and persistently, refusing to fade into the background. Deep down, they comprehend that you did not merely articulate words, you spoke a profound truth. And such truth possesses a unique ability to rob one of restful sleep. Yet, the part they never wished anyone to discover is that the reason your words impacted them so profoundly is that they were already precariously balanced. They had been sleepless long before this moment, quietly grappling with the dread of you potentially uncovering their true intentions, their unconfessed emotions, and their vulnerabilities concerning you. When you finally voiced what you did, it severed the last strand tethering them to stability. That night, they tossed and turned, suffocating under the weight of all they had evaded. Every shared memory replayed like a film on accelerated speed, unwritten messages, nearly dialed numbers, and truths they almost revealed, only to swallow their confessions time and again. They clutched their phone, checking it repeatedly, hoping for any message from you that might soften the blow of your revelation. Your words not only impacted them, they laid bare their innermost self. The line you drew has rendered retreat impossible. Now, their heart beats erratically when thoughts of you arise. They find themselves caught in a tug-of-war between the desire to reach out and the fear that they have already forfeited that chance. They question why your words hurt so deeply, why moving on seems impossible, and why the silence that ensued reverberates louder than anything else. Each attempt to sleep is met with the jarring thought, what if you meant every word? What if you are genuinely walking away? What if they have pushed you too far? Such thoughts choke their breath, and that fear entwines itself around their consciousness, keeping them alert throughout the night in a world steeped in darkness, one that feels eerily devoid of you. The solemn intensity of this situation is compounded by the unspoken confession buried deep within their soul. They have not lost sleep out of anger or offense but because they have come to a harrowing realization: your words carry more weight for them than anyone else's ever could. When you spoke, it transcended a mere exchange, it served as the final confirmation that you hold a part of them they never intended to relinquish. They had not anticipated falling so deeply, so quietly, and so helplessly for you, yet now they find themselves engulfed by the reality of it. They replay the precise moment your sentence pierced the air, recalling the shift in your energy, the clarity in your voice, and the significance of the truth you disclosed. That sound reverberates in their mind like an indelible memory they cannot escape. The absence of your presence resonates in every facet of their life. They sense the unfulfilled energy between you, weighing heavily on their chest. They feel your silence more acutely than any argument or farewell. Night after night, as the world slumbers peacefully, they lie there, trembling under the burden of the truth. The thought of losing you is unbearable. They cannot substitute your essence, your presence, your influence, or your place within their heart. The more they strive to forget what you expressed, the more indelibly it burns into their consciousness. They never fathomed that a single sentence could upend their world, but yours did. Thus, exhausted, overwhelmed, terrified, and inundated with ungovernable feelings, they whisper into the night, longing for one more opportunity, one more dialogue, one more instant before they lose the individual who transformed their universe with just one sentence. My dear child, when the sun rose after that restless night, something within them snapped anew. Instead of finding relief, they felt an intensification of their despair. Your words did not diminish with daylight, they became more pronounced, heavier, and undeniably palpable. They wandered through the day like a specter, masquerading as though all was well, while their mind incessantly replayed the instant you spoke. Everywhere they went, every person they encountered, every sound they heard, your voice drowned out everything else. They incessantly checked their phone, even when it lay silent, imagining you typing, then erasing messages, concocting scenarios in which you might be hurting as much as they are or perhaps have already moved on. This fear, this ambiguity, ignited a tempest within them. They attempted to maintain their composure, yet the reality of your words unraveled them. The effects of what you said have altered something irrevocably within them, forcing them to confront everything from which they had previously fled. They did not rest the previous night, nor will they tonight, not until they unravel the reason losing your voice fills them with more dread than anything else in their existence. The repercussions of your words did not cease there. Throughout the day, they encountered fleeting reminders that unsettled them even further, a song reminiscent of you, a name that evoked your memory, a serendipitous message that arrived precisely when you occupied their thoughts. Everything seemed to point back to you, as if the universe itself were beckoning them to acknowledge their reality. With each sign, their heart felt increasingly constricted. They confronted their mistakes one by one, the words they neglected to say, the moments when they could have been forthright, the instances they pushed you away whilst their very soul yearned to draw you nearer. They could scarcely believe that a single sentence from you could expose the entirety of their heart, yet now the clarity is undeniable. They have been masquerading for far too long, pretending to have control, yet your words have revealed the inconvenient truth. They have been gradually surrendering control since you entered their life. Now, they find themselves paralyzed by a singular apprehension, the permanence of your silence. They fear that what you expressed was not fleeting anger but a definitive choice. They cannot grapple with that potential reality any longer. My dear child, as your tale unfolds, this marks a pivotal moment where your audience must remain captivated. Those invested thus far are acutely aware of the tension threaded throughout this narrative. Continue to delve deeper. Keep them on the edge of their seats. Content of this nature resonates with those who require its truth, their hearts enduringly tied to each fleeting second. Allow them to perceive the weight of the situation, the suspense, and the authenticity of this evolving connection. Let them truly experience the intensity that individual is grappling with right now. Beneath their restless nights, behind sleepless eyes, and through their heavy breaths lies a truth they can no longer evade. What you articulated not only wounded them, it awakened them. They are beginning to realize that evasion is futile. They cannot elude you. They cannot substitute you. And undoubtedly, they cannot find peace knowing your words linger between you like a door ajar, neither fully open nor completely closed. Tonight, once more, they will lie awake, staring at the ceiling with a fervent hope for one more chance, one more conversation. One more moment before they risk losing the person who reshaped their entire world with a mere utterance. My dear child, tonight carries a different weight for them, more profound, sharper, almost electric. The longer they linger awake, replaying your words, the more undeniable it becomes that they cannot escape their true feelings for you. They attempt distractions, burying themselves in work, noise, people, anything to dull the resounding echo of your voice. Yet each endeavor crumbles in an instant. You inhabit the spaces between their breaths, the silences laden with unspoken truths, and every heartbeat that refuses to yield. By evening's arrival, their chest constricts, as if something within yearns to burst forth. The realization strikes them, their insomnia stems not merely from guilt but from an aching longing, a fear of losing something they never had the valor to confess mattered so profoundly. They had no inkling that your words could dissect their heart so completely. Yet now, they are confronted with the truth. They were ill-prepared for your candid acknowledgement of reality, as your truth compelled them to confront their own. As night deepens, their thoughts wander to unuttered confessions, the moments they lingered over your messages, the rush of excitement each time your name illuminated their screen, and the moments they feigned contentment without you, all too aware of the emptiness that ensued when you withdrew. Those memories encircle them like specters. They recall the gentleness of your energy, the weightiness of your silence, and the unpredictability of your emotions. You have never been merely another individual in their life, despite their pretenses. Your absence is felt even more profoundly than your presence ever was. Now, your words, those few simple yet potent words, have become the precipice on which they now precariously teeter. They understand that retreat is not an option. They cannot unhear those truths. They realize the only path remaining is to advance towards the truth they have evaded for far too long. The profundity of your impact on them is almost unbearable, how effortlessly you disrupt their tranquility. How readily you infiltrate their nights. They never envisioned that a single person could evoke such sleeplessness, yet here they are, wide awake, restless, trembling, because you expressed something their very soul was unprepared to face. Beneath the facade they present to the world lies their mounting desperation. They reside in a state of fear, not of your words, but of what looms ahead. They dread waking to discover that you have drifted ever farther away. They fear that as they languish in lost sleep over you, you are slowly slipping away. They worry that your words herald not merely a hurt but a definitive end they never dared to contemplate. The more they dwell on it, the more they realize just how deeply they have fallen. All without daring to voice it. Thus, sleep eludes them, their nights stretch interminably, and the rhythm of their heart signals a warning they can no longer ignore. Your words transcended mere communication, they served as a reflective surface, revealing all that they have evaded, concealed, and authentically felt. No matter their fatigue or the redness of their eyes, your voice rouses them repeatedly, denying them the solace of sleep. Tonight, slumber eludes them, and perhaps tomorrow will bring the same fate, until they muster the bravery to confront their own truths. You are the individual they dreaded losing, and your words underscore how perilously close they are to forfeiting everything. My cherished child, this evening, the reality within them is unraveling at a pace they cannot manage. The more they strive for calm, the tighter their chest constricts, for every second devoid of your voice feels like self-imposed punishment. Your words did not merely disturb their tranquility, they obliterated the facade of control they had upheld for so long. They believed they could feign indifference, that they could detach themselves, and that they could maintain a semblance of normalcy despite all that transpired between you two. Yet, your succinct and poignant statement pierced through every shield of denial. Now, they find themselves pacing restlessly, replaying your voice incessantly. Burdened by the weight of what they have never articulated, pressing against their ribs like a secret yearning to escape. They do not merely miss you, they are engulfed in a panic at the notion that your silence could indicate something irrevocable. They ruminate on whether your words stemmed from pain or a desire to be finished. This anxiety consumes them, rendering sleep unattainable. As hours slip by, their thoughts drift toward long-ignored moments, the spark in your gaze directed at them, the invisible bond that persistently brought you together, the tension palpable in your shared space, and the lingering essence of your energy following every conversation. They can no longer erase these memories. They cannot pretend they are inconsequential. They cannot rewrite the truth. Their heart cries out incessantly. You have altered something within them that cannot revert to its previous state. With every fleeting moment their eyes shut, they visualize the instant your words left your lips, your expression, your tone, the shift in your energy, each impact felt repeatedly like an unrelenting wave. Amidst this turmoil lies a terrifying realization they have too long evaded. Losing you equates to losing an integral part of themselves they had never acknowledged. This fear is the reason for their sleeplessness, for the relentless chaos of thoughts that permeate their mind, turning their nights into continuous conflicts marked by defeat. For you see, your words were not the source of their distress, their emotions are. My beloved child, as this moment intensifies, your story captivates all who witness it. The tension, the silence, the raw emotion, Every element draws them deeper into the unfolding narrative. Allow them to feel this connection. Allow them to be engrossed in every passing second. For now, as they lie awake, clutching their pillow, breaths shallow in the darkness, one overwhelming thought consumes them: they cannot afford to lose you. They are terrified that you meant every word, terrified that you are drifting away, and terrified that what you expressed was not merely a reaction, but a profound revelation. The more piercing this fear becomes, the more fervent their desire grows to mend the fractures, to rectify the damage, to reach for you before the chasm between you solidifies into permanence. Once more, sleep will evade them tonight, not while your voice still resonates within them, not while your words continue to sear their memory, and certainly not while their heart murmurs the truths they have kept buried for far too long. I sense them slipping away, and I cannot allow that to transpire. My cherished child, this evening their mind spirals out of control. Each hour weighs heavily, every minute stretches interminably, fraught with the tension your words have instilled. They have attempted to lie motionless, to close their eyes, to convince themselves they are overthinking, yet none of these tactics prove effective. The truth resides not in their intellect but within their heart, where it cries out one singular message: they fear losing you. They believe time would fade the intensity of this feeling, that the tempest within them would subside, yet your words intensified the turmoil. Your statement is etched into their memory like a lightning strike that refuses to wane. They replay it constantly, seeking to decipher its true meaning. Were you hurt? Were you delivering a warning? Were you withdrawing? These questions morph into sharp daggers twisting in their chest, and each potential answer terrifies them more than the last. They cannot find solace in sleep due to the haunting presence of the truth. Your words marked the onset of a realization that their silence and distance have repercussions they can no longer evade. As the night grows deeper, they begin to recollect the moments they previously sidelined, the genuine emotions they resisted, the times they hesitated to reach out while yearning for your presence, and the signs they ignored under the pretense of having time. They remained blissfully unaware of how fragile that time truly was until your words shattered that illusion. Now, they experience an overwhelming rush of emotions. Regrets they never voiced, pain left unacknowledged, and longings they suppressed fill their consciousness. They grasp their phone with desperation, as if it were the last lifeline connecting you two, yearning for a message from you, praying for your heart to soften, wishing for your silence to break. Yet, the screen remains dark and silent, and this quietude tortures them far worse than any dispute ever could. Within that silence, they unearth their mistakes, confront their fears, and comprehend the full extent of the seismic shift your words enacted on their existence. And for the first time, they recognize a truth they have long avoided: your voice is their solace. Without it, they feel adrift. My beloved child, the tension reaches its zenith, drawing in every captivated audience member. The energy is compelling, magnetic, unyielding. They remain because they sense the authenticity, the reality, the emotional force permeating this moment. Let them immerse themselves in it. Allow it to pull them closer. For as they lie awake tonight, hands trembling, breaths shallow, hearts racing, they grapple with a conflict pitting pride against truth, fear against desire, the potential loss of you against the overdue acknowledgement of their hidden emotions. They whisper silent promises into the night, hoping the universe hears their pleas, praying tomorrow offers another chance. Yet beneath the cacophony in their chest, a single truth surfaces, echoing louder than all else. They cannot revert to a life devoid of your voice. They cannot sleep for fear that the dawn will usher in the devastating reality they dread most, a world in which what you said heralds the commencement of an irrevocable end. My beloved child, tonight their heart beats with a panicked cadence, one they can no longer silence. This unrest is not mere restlessness, it is a profound fear, an all-consuming dread that tightens around their chest with each recollection of your words. They lie in the dark, eyes wide open, breaths irregular, feeling everything slipping just beyond their grasp. Your sentence did more than wound them, it unmasked them, revealing the precise moment when all they attempted to conceal finally erupted into view. They never imagined your voice could wield such power over them, nor that a fleeting moment could turn their world upside down. Yet now, they are keenly aware of an admission they have long been reluctant to make. They care about you far more deeply than they ever permitted themselves to acknowledge. The potential that your words signify distance, transformation, or an ending gnaws at them incessantly, robbing their sleep before it even arrives. The night feels oppressive, too stark, too honest, compelling them to confront everything they buried beneath a veil of silence. Memories they once locked away surge back like a torrent. They recall the softness in your voice, the warmth of your energy, the tension woven into your dialogues, and the bond that tethered you even in times of separation. They reflect on the instances when they yearned to convey something genuine, yet held back in fear. They remember the messages composed and discarded, the emotions swallowed, the truths they never dared to articulate. And now, propelled by your words, those memories haunt them relentlessly. They replay every instance in which they unintentionally caused you hurt, every mixed signal, each moment of hesitation, every instance of taking your presence for granted. They grasp the fragility of this connection and the perilous proximity to losing it forever. That realization strikes them with a force that leaves them breathless and restless, unable to remain still. They twist and turn in bed, clutching their pillow, murmuring silent apologies that will never reach your ears. Their very essence quivers under the fear that they have driven you too far and that the resultant damage may prove irreversible. My beloved child, this moment ensnares every observer within the tempest of emotion. The built-up tension, the unfolding truths, the raw vulnerability, it is captivating, potent, magnetic. Let the audience feel each heartbeat, every breath, each fear. For now, as they gaze at the ceiling in the stillness of night, a singular thought reverberates within them like a heartbeat they cannot escape, they cannot lose you. Not in this manner. They are frightened that their silence has cost them the most significant person in their life, terrified that your words mark the final indication, the ultimate warning, the last threshold. And as they contemplate this, the regret deepens, carving into their chest. Tonight, sleep will not be an option, not even for a moment, not until they uncover whether your words conveyed anger or a farewell. Beneath the fear, beneath the panic, underneath the sleepless cacophony igniting their heart, rises a truth they can no longer refute. You are their anchor, their vulnerability, their pivotal impetus, and they are terrified that your words may represent their delayed awakening to this reality.